Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. The way to fortunate rebirth, karma and its fruits. Sorry, the words are very small, but it's only the title. Okay, so it happens in Jeta's Grove. You know, we all know where's Jeta Groves. It's the park, and the Tabindika's park is actually the Prince Jeta's park, and the Tabindika actually bought it for the Buddha to actually set up a monastery there, a vihara there. So it happens there with this Brahmin. The audience is Brahmin, the Brahmin Sutta. Sutta, he was the son of Todiyas. So he visited the Buddha, pay respect, and then he sat on the side, and then he started to ask questions. This is always the routine of how the Buddha would start teaching. Is always upon request from somebody. So this time is this Brahmin Sutta, who was actually a young Brahmin who are very knowledgeable also. So he asked a question. He said, why is that human beings are seen to be inferior and superior? So this is a question being put forth to the Buddha, and then he kept raising a few questions. So by what he means by inferior and superior, the Buddha said, the Buddha replied to this inferior and superior. But other than that, Sutta actually raised 7 more questions that we will start to look at how the Buddha actually replied. But let us look at how the Buddha replied to why would human being be considered inferior or superior. And the Buddha actually replied is because beings are owners of their actions. So in here, I have seen other versions of how to actually translate these. Is beings are owners of their own karma. So karma, we all know the word karma actually represents the whole philosophy about cause and effect. Right, the whole idea of cause and effect. So you can say also karma. You can use the law of causation to represent karma. So of course, as we have studied, there are dark karma or black karma. There are white karma. There are neither black or white karma. So we have studied that in the last couple of chapters. So he said also, heirs of their actions. So we inherit. Our actions, our karma, is actually our inheritance. So and this inferiority or superiority actually originates from these actions. So from this karma. And our lives actually, he said, the Buddha said, our lives are bound by these actions or these karmas, the results of these actions. And very sadly and very truly also is we take these actions as our own refuge. And we can see that around the world now. It's actually this last point is have their actions as their refuge. We can see that around the world right now. such a true saying from here. For example, if our actions of anger, or actions of untruthfulness, and we, a lot of times, the results are here. We actually bear the results of being untruthful from the past, or being angry from the past, but now we don't see it as a unwholesome consequence, and yet we constantly still going towards that path of multiplying more anger or multiplying more untruthfulness by expressing those ideas, those thoughts through our actions. So we can see actually people taking anger as their refuge. They're constantly diving, immersing themselves or submerging themselves in anger, or submerging themselves in telling lies with open eyes, and not really feeling shameful or remorseful or remorse about those things. And we can see it so vividly displayed, across the whole world nowadays. So the Buddha said this is actually, because of this, makes people inferior or superior. Okay, so Sutta actually asked another questions also. Besides this, he asked seven other questions, and he said, so for people who are seen to be short-lived and long-lived, and sickly and healthy, so why would they be like this? Why is it like this, Master Gautama, that human beings have these different kind of life? So he asked 7 questions. Why are people short-lived and long-lived? Okay, and then the second one is, why are people sick and healthy? Or sick or healthy? And why are people ugly and beautiful? And why are people without influence or being influential? And why are people poor and wealthy? And why are people born low and born high? And why are people stupid and wise? So these are the 7 questions that actually Brahmin Sutta put to the Buddha. And after the Buddha actually explained to him that beings are owners of their actions, heirs of their actions, originate from their actions, are bound to the actions, have the actions as the refuge. And it is the action that distinguishes beings as inferior and superior, because the actions will bring results, right? But after even the Buddha told Sutta about this is the main cause, is the actions. But Sutta doesn't understand. He didn't understand. He said, I do not understand in detail the meaning. Could you please explain in detail? Could you please explain clearly, what do you mean by this? So the Buddha said, of course. He said, student, listen and attend closely. So this is always the answer that the Buddha tell the students. Why? It's a reminder, this, I am ready to teach, pay attention. And also, for me, I feel that the Buddha actually constantly remind us as, worldly beings, that means not enlightened. Unenlightened beings is, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention, because human minds are so dispersed, so unfocused, so dull, so foggy. So listen, pay attention. I am going to teach. So you can see, and also, it's also, I feel myself, this is my interpretation is, when the teacher teaches, you need to listen, otherwise it's disrespectful, right? So you agree, because when students are not listening to you in the classroom, then it's disrespectful, right? So, and the Buddha being the Buddha, of course, we need to respect him the way he should be respected, because he's enlightened and we are not. So he said, so listen, I'm going to explain. So the first question he was going to explain is about the lifespan of people. So long-lived or short-lived. So I used a word to actually encompass the whole thing about long-lived or short-lived. So he said, so reasons for a short life is because it kills. So last week we studied this. He kills living beings, he's murderous, he's bloody-handed, he's given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. So if somebody actually commits such unwholesome act, we learned from the last chapter is when they die, they will go into the lower realm, right? Remember this? After this body breakup, so after this life, they will be reborn in a state of misery in lower realms. But, in case they have this good fortune, this good karma, not to be reborn in lower realm, but instead of returning back as a human being, he will be short-lived. So you can see that actually there are two types of karma in this, actually in everything, in every one of this. The first is the karma of killing will lead one to be reborn in lower realm. Okay? But in case, this is the first karma, this is the first type of karma, like possible karma, that he will be reborn in the lower realm. But if he has the good fortune, if he has good, wholesome, other good, wholesome karma that allows him to be reborn as a human being, so that karma that allows him to be reborn as a human being doesn't relate to this karma of killing. It's a different type of karma. Okay? Different type of wholesome karma that actually allow him to be reborn as a human being. He doesn't need to go into the hell's realm yet. But the lifetime that he became a human being, he will have a very, very short life. And that short life is the result of this killing. Understand? You frowned.
I'm just thinking of my actions.
Oh, okay. All right. Don't worry. It will tell eventually by itself. So you can see it's actually a very, very different a dilemma in here. Okay?
So if you have a very short life, then you have no opportunity or very little opportunity to encounter the Dharma.
Of course. That is, so the cycles go.
Right?
Yeah. So that's why I always constantly remind myself and also remind my students that being born as a human being is so fortunate, and encountering the Dharma is doubly fortunate, and being able to practice and triply fortunate, and being able to be so close to a monastery and quadruply so fortunate, right? I mean, we look at it this way, and it's really not a blessing in disguise. It's a real blessing. It's a real blessing. And so, but people don't think that having a human life is so fortunate, because we haven't died and we haven't become an animal. We haven't experienced. Maybe we have, but we forgot about those past lives already. So we're so ignorant. We forgot about them, and we're so much enjoying this life. It seems that I am so worried about all of your well-beings. I constantly ask, do you meditate 2 hours a day, or do you meditate twice a day? Like last half-day meditation, I said, who meditate twice a day? And only few people put up their hand. And I feel so urgent. In my mind, I feel so urgent. It's like, why are my students not meditating? Why are they not meditating? Because they don't see the imminence. They don't see this urgency that we could anytime we could just go like this. Sorry. Then wherever you are going, there's nothing you can do anymore. So that urgency. That's why I'm not shy of asking, do you meditate? Are you not meditating? I'm not shy at all. Every time I say, meditate, meditate. And even though they don't meditate, I would say, meditate, skip your meal if you don't meditate. But they still don't meditate. What can I do? Nothing I can do.
Take away their cell phones.
Take away their cell phones? Oh, yeah. Using supernatural power, right? Or break the cell phones. Oh. Yeah, break up. But anyway, so reason for short life. This is the reason for short life. So reason for a long life is the opposite, right? So one abandons and abstains. I'm missing S. From destruction of life. So we all know from that. So I love this chapter because it's sort of like it's a continuous, not separate chapters talking about separate things. So one abandons and abstains from the destruction of life. That's why after death will be reborn in good destiny in heavenly world. And if they reborn as a human being, he is long-lived. So there is a reason for people longevity. There's a reason for people's short life. And that's really, really, really true. I've seen people, in this lifetime, they kill a lot. They kill a lot in the earlier part of their life, even though in the later part of their life, they become vegetarian. They take up the precepts, but still in the first part of their life, there was a lot of killing, and that killing, I could see that was the remnants from past lives. From remnants from the past life, and then this life, then they realized that, oh wow, this is not nice to kill, so they stopped. But still, they have to bear those fruits, and in this lifetime, for these people, I've seen that there are actually a lot of sickness in them, very sick, and constant sickness. So when you are constantly, not in good health, remind yourself, this is the karma from past life. You must have killed a lot in the past life. We talk about this sickness coming. So health. The next one is health. So whether you're healthy or you're constantly sick, there are reasons. Reasons for sickness. Injuring beings with a clod or with a stick or with a knife. That means constantly injuring. So if this is injuring but not killing, okay, so can you imagine if killing? So that's definitely short life, right? So this is injuring, that means bashing them or whatever. And upon the breakup of the body, reborn in a state of misery. If they die, then they will reborn in the lower realms. But if they have good karma to come back as a human being, then they are, in the book it said, wherever he is reborn, he is sickly. So sickly. Is there such a word called sickly? Really? Oh, okay. That means very sick. All the time sick.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sickly. So sickly. So this is actually what I was telling you about. I have seen people like that, really very sickly, and very short life too. I mean, not very short life, but comparatively short life, short-lived in the early 40s, early 50s, so, and throughout the whole life, very sick. So we can see. So reflect upon ourselves. If we don't have a healthy body, starting from young age, all the way, when you grow up and all that. So remember, and it's a constant reminder that this is the karma from the past. And reason for healthy life is, of course, the opposite is do not injure beings with this hand with a knife and with a clod with a stick. And of course, after this body break up, reborn in good destiny, and if reborn into a human being, he is healthy. And you see this, some people they are healthy all along until they die. Little sickness, really not a big deal. But I have seen those people too. Or even if they have sickness, they recover quite speedily and quite well. So this is the about the health question. So the third one is about appearance. So he said reasons for ugliness. Angry and irritable character. We don't have to die in order to experience this ugliness. Look at ourselves when we get angry. Don't we look ugly? Right? When we are irritable, don't we look ugly? We do. When we are sulky, we look so ugly. Right? Yeah. So we don't have to die and then reborn to look ugly. We look ugly right there when we get angry. So we know. Okay? So angry and irritable character. So look at yourself all the time at the mirror. Do I look ugly today? Or do I look beautiful today? Okay? So, and even when criticized a little, he's offended, becomes angry, hostile, resentful, displays anger, hate, and bitterness. I come to see more and more about myself. I was so terrible when I was little, when I was young. So terrible. I was ugly all the time. No wonder I'm so ugly now. I'm still so ugly now. I was so bad when I was young. So bad. And I think because that was the karma from the past, being such an angry person, such a fast, rushy, displaying irritation and agitation so fast, so soon. When I was younger. I mean, I'm still like that, but I think I have make a little progress on this path. Is, you know, I know how to shut my mouth, and I know how to actually, not all the time, but getting there a little bit better, to shut up and not to actually say back or reply back, and just keep quiet. It's really not easy because such a strong habit. I can see this is such a strong habit from the past many lives, and it's very difficult really to change and correct, especially when being criticized, and when being whatever, you know. But so angry and irritable character. So, well, if you would like to be looking beautiful next life, so start correcting yourself right now this life. And upon breakup, of course, born in misery and lower realms, or if they were born as a human being, he's ugly, he or she is ugly. And you can see that in animals too. In animals, in dogs, in cats. And even dogs and cats come from the same litter, they all have different faces. And some faces look beautiful, some faces look really ugly, from the same parents. As I always say, from the same factory. But yet, different face. Okay? So reasons for looking beautiful is not of an angry and irritable character. And of course, not angry and irritable character, this person definitely have a lot of patience. Definitely is very soft and compassionate. Otherwise, they will not. I mean, the display on the face will be like, doesn't look very beautiful, and not hostile, angry, and resentful and hateful, right, and criticize. So when they reborn, of course, in good destiny, and when they reborn as a human being, he is beautiful, he or she is beautiful. And you can see it actually from people's face. You look at them, you look at their face, you feel, some people are beautiful, but they don't make you feel easy and comfortable. Right? But some people are beautiful, but you look at them, it's like an angel. It's like so clean and so comfortable looking at that face. But some people are, yes, they are beautiful, but you don't feel comfortable when looking at them. So there's something missing there. Okay? All right? So next one is being influential or not influential. Is it number 4? 美丑, yes. So the status. So it's talking about status. So reason for being not influential is because he's envious. One who envies, resents, begrudges the gains and honor, respect, reverence, salutations, and veneration received by others. So he's jealous. He's jealous of people who are receiving all those gains, honors, respect, reverence, salutations, and veneration. He doesn't like it. And he holds a grudge, and he becomes resentful. So this is the cause. And what is the consequence? Upon the breakup of the body, reborn in misery. And if he has this good fortune to become as a human being, he's not influential. So don't blame others if people don't listen to your comment. Don't blame others. If people don't listen to your suggestion, don't blame others. It's all because of ourselves. Okay? So we haven't listened to others before, so why do you expect people to listen to you now? Right? Because you're envious of, you don't respect people in the past, why do you expect people to respect you now? You can. It's a vicious cycle. Boomerang. Right? What goes out will come round. Boomerang. So reasons for being influential is the same. They do not become envious. They venerate. They happy. Those people are being respected, and those people are being venerated by others, and they don't hold a grudge, and they don't get jealous. They don't become resentful, and sometimes they are happy for others. So when they are reborn, they could be reborn in heavenly beings, or they could be reborn as a human being, a karma that they could reborn as a human being, then they become influential. And you can see from our leaders, from the country leaders, you can see some leaders are very influential. Some leaders are not very influential, but they are leaders. What can you do? They have such good consequence, karma, to be a leader of a country. But yet they influence in many other ways. You can see that they influence in an unwholesome way. Even though as a leader, if they keep on influencing people in an unwholesome way, we better send them a lot of metta, because next lifetime is not a funny lifetime. Yeah, it can be a good one, or eventually, not necessarily the life right after this, but eventually he or she has to go through this kind of difficult lives. Okay. So wealth. The fifth one is wealth. So reasons for being poor, we all know, because people don't give, stingy. To give to ascetics and Brahmins, that means they don't support the sangha. So, and they don't give food, drink, clothing, carriages, garlands, scents to ascetic and Brahmins. So break up. So you all know it's all the same. But if he will be reborn as a human being, have some wholesome karma to be reborn as a whole human being, he will become poor. And so, of course, on the other hand, why would he be reborn as rich? Is because he give food, he bring lambs, he give drink, he bring clothing, he brings all sorts of offerings to ascetic and Brahmins. There was a story I told last week on Friday by offering a flower. A drunk person having a flower on his ears, he got drunk, and he was born in the lifetime of a Buddha. And he got so drunk, but when he passed by, the Buddha was teaching, not Gautama the Buddha, but the other Buddha. The Buddha was teaching, and he saw came to his senses, and he sort of sat there and listened to the teaching, and he was so inspired, he took the flower and offered. And just because of that, 91 eons of life, he was so rich, and he had such good fortune to be able to listen to different teachings. And then when Gautama the Buddha was born, he was so fortunate to be able to be reborn as a human being, and also became a bhikkhu. And one day, when Gautama the Buddha was teaching, and he was a bhikkhu sitting in the congregation, and there was an uproar from the other bhikkhus. Why would that bhikkhu had a flower on his ear? A bhikkhu should not decorate himself with a flower. So the other bhikkhus had an uproar about him. So they complained to the Buddha. And then the Buddha said to him, okay, take out take away that flower. So he took the flower out. Another flower sprang up, and he took another flower out. Another flower sprang up, and so the Buddha said, use your supernatural power, because he was an arahant. Use your supernatural power to remove all your flowers. So he actually used his supernatural power to appear thousands hands, many hands, keep picking the flowers, throwing the flowers, and all the flowers went up to the sky. And just because of one lifetime, he had this good fortune to be sober when he passed by one of the past Buddha's teachings. And he, at that time, he just took that flower to offer. You can see such karma. This is wholesome karma. And offering, let alone offering food and drink and clothing and whatnot to ascetics and Brahmins, and reborn in good destination, and as a human being, he's rich. So you can see people born into a family of great wealth, don't become envious to them, because their family definitely in their past life have done many offerings, have given many dana to support the Brahmins and the ascetics. Okay? But this lifetime, how they going to use their wealth is another different matter. Okay? So being born low or high, because one is obstinate and one is arrogant, so he belittle people. So, and he does not pay respect, does not give seat, does not rise up to those people who he should rise up to, and so forth. So that's why when he actually was reborn, he will be reborn in a state of misery, or he will be reborn in a low state. Okay, and then of course the opposite is being highborn, and this is because he's not obstinate or arrogant, and he pay homage, he pay respect, he gives people seed, and he does not make way for one. He makes way for one. He should make way, and he honors, he respects, he reveres, and he venerates. And there are actually many stories about this in the Jataka stories. One Brahmin offered us a chair, just offer a chair to an ascetic. And as soon as he offered a chair, in heaven, there is already a mention in his name. So remember that, right? So one day the secular god said, "How come they went into the heaven?" And said, "How come these mansions have got that name? And why? What did he do? What has he done in order to have this mansion?" And asked him, "What have you done in your life to have this mansion?" He said, "I haven't done anything." He said, I just offer a chair to an ascetic, to a Brahmin. I just offer a chair, just offer a seat." And so, don't underestimate any trivial good deeds that we are, any trivial good deeds or any trivial opportunities that we have to actually to show respect, to show care, to show loving kindness, to show compassion or consideration. Those, you think that those trivial opportunities, oh no, never mind, I'll do it when I have bigger opportunity. You never know, the big opportunity may never come. But many of these trivial little opportunities could make it to become a big opportunity. So don't give up any little opportunity. Yeah? Okay, so reborn in a good destiny will be highborn. So number 7, being stupid or wise. I'm so happy that Bhikkhu Bodhi used this word. Because we always use this word, but only when I came to Canada that this is not this is a very rude word to use, but Bhikkhu Bodhi used it. I was told using the word stupid is very rude in Canada. No? You're not Canadian.
I used it.
So you and me are both stupid then. But anyway, yeah, unwise. Really rude? Really, huh?
Yeah, in the schools we don't like it.
Huh? But not in England, huh? We used those when we were I was studying in Britain. We used those words.
When you refer to someone else and call them that word, it's an insult. But when you refer
to yourself,
you say, oh, it's
humble.
Stupid. Everybody understands.
Okay, all right. So better use this word on myself rather than on others. Okay, okay. So stupid. Me. Okay, me, myself. Okay, so being unwise or wise. So, reasons for being stupid. Does not visit an ascetic or a Brahmin and ask question. What is wholesome? What is unwholesome? This is really stupid if they don't ask, right? That's why he used this word. Not wise, really. And what is blamable? What is blameless? And what should be cultivated? And what should not be cultivated? Yes, of course, this is not wise. And what kind of action will lead to harm and suffering for a long time? And what kind of action will lead to my welfare and happiness for a long time? So he doesn't ask these questions. And he doesn't visit a Brahmin, visit an ascetic to ask such questions. So how could he become wise? He definitely will remain in that state of stupidity, right? So remember Mahamangala Sutta. What did Mahamangala Sutta teach us?
Seeing monks and then discussing about the Dharma, right? I think so. Seeing monks and then discussing.
Seeing monks and discussing Dharma in a timely fashion, right? Yeah. Seeing monks and discussing the Dharma in a timely fashion. So it's actually very important, okay? So you are able to see a monk, to see a nun and listen to Dharma or discuss Dharma. This is actually leading to good destiny.
I can see this is the precept.
A precept?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah, you can say it's a precept. Yes, it's talking about precept. And remember, we actually in here I can't remember which chapter. Remember what is blamable and what is not blamable? I think it's chapter 2, something like that. Yeah, I think it's chapter 2 or chapter 3, I can't remember. One should ask, the actions, and oops, sorry, blamable, not blamable. It'll come back, no? And the, oh, something wrong? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Remember, I think it is in chapter 2 or chapter 3, I can remember. And the Buddha said, is it blamable? Is it blameless? What does the wise person say? Okay, so what does the wise person say? What would your teacher say? Is it blamable? Is it blameless? So that means morality. Okay, so what kind? Reborn in a state of misery, and if reborn as a human being, he is stupid. He's not very wise. Okay, so the opposite is he will ask all these questions. I forgot about the opposite. I forgot about the wise, being wise. So that means he will go and visit, and then he will ask these questions, and he will be reborn in a heavenly world, or if he reborns to a human state, he will be very wise. So the Buddha said the way that leads to short life makes people short-lived. The way that leads to long life makes people long-lived. So those are all the causes of our existence right now, right here. So we have planted all these causes from the past, and these are the consequences that we are experiencing from those past causes. So at the end, the Buddha said, at the end, the Buddha said, beings are owners of their actions. So he repeated this as in paragraph 4. Heirs of their actions, they originate from the actions, are bound to the actions, have the actions as a refuge. It is action that distinguished beings as inferior and superior. And also, this is the habit of the Buddha too. He always sort of repeat what he started and concluded with that repetition, repeating that whole topic, so that it's sort of like he pounded into you once, twice, 3 times. Pounded, you remember, not like me using a fist, but you remember. So Sutta at the end said, magnificent. Let Gautama accept me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge from today until life's end. And throughout this whole book, you can see, or throughout actually in the Nikaya, many people who have, or definitely householder, right, who have listened, who have the good fortune to listen to the Buddha's teachings, at the end they are all convinced by the Buddha's teachings, and they wanted to take refuge and following the Buddha's path. So a lot of actually teachings actually would end with such a paragraph. Okay. I did not animate the reflections. So, finish this chapter. We have 15 minutes to discuss reflections. The law of karma. Look at the first one first, please. The law of karma. So is it fate, or is it also a changing process? Nora. Can you unmute Nora, please?
No, it's not fate. Fate means that everything's predetermined, and we're always doing different actions, you know. Some days we do good things, some days we do bad things, so it's always changing.
Yeah, but what about this life though? You say it's predetermined, whatever we have now. So is it still fate?
No, because what you know, we never know when our karma is going to ripen. And maybe an action I do now will ripen tomorrow, or maybe it'll ripen in the next lifetime.
Yep, good. Very good, Nora. Good. Anybody else have any thoughts on this? No? Is it a changeable process? Of course it is, right? Yeah, of course. Okay. So in this lifetime, trying the best or not, will it affect whatever we are born with? For example, we are born with being poor or being not wise. So if we try our best, or if we don't try, would it still change? Would it affect what we were born with? No? Yes? No? Irene?
Yes, it will affect.
It will affect. Okay.
Yeah,
can you give an example?
But referring to the story of Liang Fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, and then this, remember the two phrases, like to know what you, what is it? To know that your past, look at what you are.
若知前世因，今生受這事。Okay.
Yeah. If you want to know what your future be, just look at the present, what you do.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah. So that's what definitely will affect.
Yes.
So if you're being lazy, not doing like when you're taking exam, if you don't study, you know the result.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how smart that you are.
Yeah.
So, right? What that you're born with, if you're smart or clever.
Yeah.
But if you put in the effort, then during the exam, you may get passed by and may not.
Yeah.
You may fail too.
Yep. Good. Thank you. So Irene was sharing a story, which is actually a very common story in Chinese. Somebody is called Liu Fan, and of course in the old days. And one day somebody read his face and read his life, about his past life and also this present life, and he was striving to become so to become like a really esteemed status in the government. Okay. So anyway, so this person who whatever you call life reader said that, oh well, you are destined to have no sons or daughters. You're destined to die very young. You're destined to be not able to get to these high-ranking officials. No way. In the old days, people go to write exams, and then if they pass, then they will be called into the government to be like officials. Okay, so he was very depressed because life reading is actually a very popular thing in China. He was very depressed, and one day he walked by a monastery, and then there was a Chan master tell him, we can all change our life. We can all change our life if you start doing wholesome deeds. So he thought about that, and he started changing his life. He started doing a lot of wholesome deeds, little ones. And eventually, it seems that the life reader was correct to a certain extent, and then after he had done so many little wholesome deeds, his life started to change, shift, and eventually he had a son. He became one of the very renowned official, and he long lived. So there are many stories like this. So we could definitely change our life. There are actually 4 phrases for a passage in Chinese. It's that if you want to know about your past, what you are going through right now is a vivid example of your past. If you want to know about your future life, it's what you are doing right now in this present life. Okay, so that's it. So in these 7 types of karma, which include first one is longevity, second one is sickness or your health, the third is your appearance, the fourth is whether you're born high or low, the fifth is wealth, the sixth is whether you're influential or influential and non-influential, that is the fourth, and then born low or high is the sixth, and then 7 is whether you are stupid or wise, that's 7. So in these 7 types of karma, which ones do you think belong to the outside, and which one belongs to the inside? Outside, that means outside of our physical existence, and inside, that means within here. Nora, okay, good. There you go.
All inside, because everything comes from the mind. So your mind sort of influences what your actions are going to be, and your actions influence your karma. And the most important one is wisdom, because if you don't know about the laws of karma, how are you going to know what to do?
Okay, that is for your future though. But what about the karma that one experiencing right now? If one is ugly and beautiful, is that in? Yeah. But is that in outside, or is that in inside?
Inside, because if you're ugly, maybe good actions will make you more beautiful. You'll stop being angry, and then you won't look so bad.
I like that, Nora. Huh?
Miss Nora.
Yeah. So longevity is, what do you think about longevity? Longevity, is it outside, inside? It's definitely inside, isn't it? So health, sickness, sickly or healthy is definitely inside too, right? Ugly, beautiful, it's ours, isn't it? But when you come to being influential or non-influential, it is an outside thing, isn't it? It is an outside thing. Or inside thing? What about being giving food and not giving food? You're giving to outside. Dana is outside, giving to outside. Yeah, distributing. What about being low-born, being high-born? Inside, outside? Outside? Outside, inside? Outside, yeah.
You're arrogant, isn't that an insight? You're obstinate.
Obstinate and arrogant. But the result, this is talking about the result.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to understand the inside, outside, like the outside, I think, is that what you're asking, like, the world is reflecting that back to you. But if it's the inside,
It's yours,
like it's coming out
from you, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what is the wisdom, the wise and the stupidity? That's definitely inside, isn't it? Right? But as Nora said, we can change that karma by changing from inside. But if the karma is already here, then the karma is already here, right? Then we could actually see this is an outside karma and an inside karma. Or yeah, I know it's so funny the way that I put this. But which one do you think you should pay more attention to?
When I first read the question, I thought obviously inside, because that's where you see it. But now, if the outside's actually really helpful, because it's like, how often do you really look at a mirror? Or how often do you really look at yourself? But if you see everything around you reflected back at you, right? So, whether or not you have intellect, whether or not somebody listens to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that's immediate. That's like constantly there.
Influential and non-influential. That is an outside thing, isn't it? Influential and non-influential that is an outside thing.
This seven, just one is inside.
Which one?
Wise.
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Inside.
Just one, yeah.
Okay.
I see you, I cannot distinguish whether you are a so-called wisdom,
Wise or not.
But for other things, even though you are sick, I can see you are sick. It's definitely the outside thing, outside you can see.
Outside appearance.
Yeah.
Influential is also outside.
Yeah. So there's a more abstract.
You what?
More abstract. This
More abstract, yeah.
More abstract. The sick, you can tell from people's appearance.
These are all outside.
Yeah, and for me, just one is inside.
Or you can, yeah, you can also say that the long life, you can see is also, it could be, it appears that you are out long living. It has to appear. You all have to see it. The health, you have to see it. The ugliness, the appearance, the wealth, you have to see it. Then the, what else? The low-born and high-born, influential, non-influential. I can agree with her, but I have some doubts too. We need to put this more into reflecting. So, which one would you pay more attention to, though? Catherine raised her hand. Okay. Catherine.
I would say the inferential one.
Okay.
Because I think I have to pay more attention to that, because the envy part, being, begrudges the other people's gain or something. Sometimes that might happen, and then now I know that that will need to. Is inferential like same as charisma?
Oh.
It's slightly different.
I think charisma, influential. I think these are two different things. So charisma is sort of like attracted, but not necessarily influential, right? Charismatic. Is that charismatic? Oh, charismatic. Charismatic, yeah. Charismatic people, you are attracted to charismatic people, but they are not definitely influential.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily influential, right? Yeah. So influential people are charismatic. To a certain extent, they are charismatic. Influential people. Otherwise, how can they influence people, right? I think they definitely have some charisma there. But charismatic people, not necessarily influential. Influential people could be charismatic too. They have to be. Right? Yeah. Okay? Good.
Would you say like in the court, like a judge?
Yeah.
It's very influential.
Yeah, but he's not necessarily charismatic. Oh no. Yeah. Galen said that, for example, in a court, a judge definitely is very influential, but not necessarily charismatic. Right? Yeah. And a movie star could be very charismatic, but not necessarily influential, right? We say influential here is actually influential in a positive way, not in a negative way. Okay? So think about these questions. Think about these reflections. I like these reflections very much because it allows you to actually process the teachings more. Okay? So we will dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we with all the other living beings together will attain the Buddha way. And may we wish more and more people will encounter the wise words of the Buddha, study them, understand them, practice them, and help themselves to liberate from their own entanglements and attain the true and ultimate freedom and happiness. May you all be safe and secure, happy and peaceful, especially those people in California.